This manga is about reuniting with a girl on a bus ride back home. Remember to support the mangaka by following them on Twitter and buying their manga officially. Links in the description below. Now I'll be honest, I've never really had to ride the bus to school ever in my life. My mandatory education was all well within walking distance from my house, and whenever I was feeling like a lazy piece of shit, my mom out of the kindness of her heart would just drive my fat ass to school. The only times I've ever really rode the bus was whenever we went on a field trip, and out of the few times I've had to ride on it, I'm always thankful I never had to take that shit to school. You got the bus seats filled with someone's ashes, the soon-to-be sorority girls yapping in the back, some kid digging for gold in his nose and placing it on the only open seat on the bus. You get my point. However, I will say, if I ever got the opportunity to ride the bus back home with a cute girl, the commute would be a lot more enticing to say the very least. Before the first actual chapter, we are introduced to our male main character Shunpei, riding a bus in a town in which he describes as in the middle of nowhere. It's nothing but your average day in Azeno town. Sunny sky, lush greenery, dumbass kids, just him alone in the countryside on a bus commuting to school. Oh, and I guess we can also include that girl. The manga opens with a grounded look at what life in Azeno is normally like. We see Shunpei venting to his classmates about common difficulties he's been encountering ever since they were in preschool. A few of these include how biking to a convenience store from his house is essentially unrealistic, how there's nothing in the near area besides a lonely vending machine, and how he was bored being in the same class with the same 19 people ever since they were little. Yeah, I can't even blame bro at that last point. Like at the very least throughout the manga it seems he's pretty chill with his classmates, but if I had to stick with the same farm animals that were in my class during the 3rd grade all the way till high school, I probably would have just moved to another state at that point. Judging from just the first few pages of exposition, this manga immediately reminded me of one of my all-time favorite animes, Non Non Biori. Both stories share that distinct rural setting, depicting a countryside whose younger people are moving away to big cities to find better opportunities. Obviously, this manga isn't at the scale of Non Non Biori, where there are literally only 5 students attending the town's only school. But the vibe I immediately got reading this manga felt very reminiscent of it. Shunpei is then shown riding the bus back home from school, which is where we are introduced to our female main character, An Takayagawa. She is portrayed as a very distant, almost unapproachable person, as she always chooses to sit towards the front of the bus alone, buried in a book she's reading, and avoids talking to people whenever she can. She's apparently now attending a private middle school in the city, which is now causing her to be ostracized by her former classmates. Shunpei looks back to when he was in elementary school, wondering to himself just when exactly he stopped interacting with An, and even just now realized he never knew she transferred schools until after they graduated. We then cut to yet another day of Shunpei riding the bus back home, taking a glance at An silently studying in the front of the bus. He thinks back to what his friend said before about An, and wonders to himself whether or not what he said was true. Shunpei describes An as someone who's always at the top of her class, and was also the one people relied on the most out of everyone. Despite what everyone else thought of An now, to Shunpei, she was still the same person as before. Well, she's still the same as ever, but there's just really nothing else to talk about with her anymore. Yo, hold on. Dude! What the fuck? They got rid of the vending machine! Holy shit, they did? Huh? Bro! That shit was just about the only redeemable thing about this town and they fucking got rid of it! I ain't high, right? I swear to God that vending machine was literally just there this morning. Huh? Damn. Yeah, I guess it was. We then got an awkward silence between the two as the bus continued to drive down the road. When An eventually reached her stop, Shunpei took one last glance at her as she walked away from the bus stop, and agonized at just how stupid his response to her was. We then see her take a momentary pause to look back at the bus driving off in the distance. As the two were further and further away from one another, they both thought to themselves how this was the first conversation they had in a long time. In the second chapter, we see Shunpei barely holding on to dear life as his mom shouts at him that he's about to miss his bus. To which he does end up missing. It's also revealed that it apparently takes him 40 minutes on the bus for him to get to school. And now look, I don't know why he's complaining about his commute to school. Like, wait until you're an adult, because it's clear bro's never had to live in California, where it literally takes me an hour and 20 minutes just for me to drive to school for a single 50-minute class, to where I then have to haul my ass back home for another hour. Like, bro, your ass doesn't even need to drive. You just need your physical presence to be inside the bus. Like, bro, come on. Alright, anyways. We then see him reflect back on his response to An about the vending machine, and him getting shy over her even though they've known each other for a long time. He thinks about whether he wants to go back to avoiding her like he has been for the past 2 years, or if he actually wants to reconnect and talk with her again, like they did when they were little. His grandma eventually drives his ass to school, and we then cut to Shunpei riding the bus back home. He stares at An and wonders whether or not he should talk to her, and even starts reflecting about how just a little silence turned into them growing completely distant with one another. An then eventually breaks the silence by calling out to him, and asking why he wasn't on the bus this morning. Shunpei tries to nonchalantly tell her that he just overslept, to which he somehow still fails to communicate by sounding completely awkward in his response. An responds back saying how she was worried that she didn't see him on the bus this morning, which surprised Shunpei, seeing how he didn't expect her to actually be concerned for him. The remaining time on the bus was spent in complete silence between the two. However, just before An was about to get off at her stop, Shunpei called out to her and waved her goodbye nervously, to which An would wave back in response. The second chapter would then end with Shunpei thinking to himself how he shouldn't be late to the bus tomorrow. In the chapters that followed a second, it consists of Shunpei and An gradually warming up to one another, as they reconnect in the short time they have on the bus ride to school and back home. There's a chapter about them talking about random bullshit that's happened at their respective schools, another chapter where An helps fix Shunpei's button when it comes off his shirt, and even a chapter where they discuss how two of their classmates are now dating one another. This manga is literally just simple friendly interactions between Shunpei and An.
Oh my god.
As they ride on the bus together, and that simplicity is exactly what makes it so charming to read. The title for this manga is called Futari Bus, or also known as Bus for Two, written and drawn by Toyobashi Sakane. The manga is currently sitting at 31 chapters at the time I'm recording this, with a new chapter every week. This manga is listed as a shonen, with your usual comedy, romance, and slice of life tags. As for my thoughts on this manga, it is a very straightforward and cozy read overall. Being a part of what is probably the most overstimulated generation in all of history, it's nice to read something that doesn't try to be something super unique. Like, I just permanently feel like I'm on low cortisol every time I read a new chapter. The atmosphere it builds just feels so warm and even nostalgic in a way, with how it's just simply two kids enjoying their youth together as they ride the bus. Also, I really love the mangaka's art style. The expressions on all the characters aren't overly exaggerated like a lot of rom-coms, which adds to just how realistic the characters feel. The female main character appearance-wise looks pretty average, yet she's shown to be very endearing from time to time. And honestly, the mangaka's art style is just overall really pleasing to look at. Now, I will say, something that might deter people from reading this manga is the fact that it is a very slow burn in terms of the romance. Minor spoilers ahead. Out of 31 chapters I've read so far, I would say that An and Shunpei's relationship is for the most part platonic, yet there are some hints here and there that say otherwise. I will admit that I am a little impatient at times with how slow An and Shunpei's relationship is progressing. However, I do appreciate how the manga is taking their time to properly develop it, and I'm sure the payoff will be satisfying to read, given how well the author is at writing their characters. I personally enjoy binging manga that are a lot slower paced, as having to wait a week for minimal progression is insanely painful. Like, I'm talking Chinese water drop torture level of slow and pain. But I'm way too impatient to wait multiple weeks just to be able to binge multiple chapters, so I would usually just read the new chapter the moment it comes out. So essentially, if you're looking for a fast-paced manga, with gimmicks and heavy drama to help stimulate your already rotten brain, this is probably the last manga you should read. But even if this isn't your type of genre, I do think that it's at least worth a read, as this is currently one of the manga I look forward to the most every week it updates. For my overall rating, I would give this manga a 9.3 out of 10, as of right now. It's got amazing art, great character writing, love the setting. The only reason why I'm not giving it a higher rating is that this manga is still relatively new, and I would need to read further than where it is right now in order to give my proper rating. Once again, if you don't want this manga to get axed or cancelled, please support the mangaka by following them on Twitter and buying their manga officially. If y'all enjoyed today's recommendation, do consider subscribing, as I have over 300 plus other manga saved, with much more to come in the future that I have to recommend. Y'all, the support of my first video is absolutely insane. I was only expecting to get 20 views at most, and the fact that we got 8,000 views with 200 subs is just completely unfathomable to me. Unfathomable. There you go. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the nice comments and constructive feedback y'all left on my video. It was really cool to see so many other people who love reading manga and rom-coms find my page. The very few friends I have in real life either don't consume anime or manga, or they just read a bunch of power fantasy slop that I honestly have zero interest in. So it's really nice to see that I'm able to build a community of people that all have high quality taste. I want to be able to continuously improve my videos so that y'all get a better experience each time you watch a new one. And I hope this video at the very least matches the previous one in terms of quality. Once again, if there's any constructive feedback or suggestions y'all have to improve these manga reviews, do let me know down below. I make sure to read all the comments you guys write, and if you don't have any feedback to give, you can just say you like the video so I know that I'm doing my job properly. I look forward to creating more videos that y'all will enjoy, and once again, thank you guys so much for the support. Bye bye.